how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. In today's video, we are doing the Roundup review that I do every single month. I don't even know how long I've been doing this kind of video. It's been like 3 years probably. But this is just the video where I round up all of the products that I tried in the previous month. So these are all of the products that I tried in the month of April. This is just a way for me to give my rounded up thoughts about everything. I'm able to be very transparent on what I've either received or bought myself and just give you my full thoughts on everything. Before we hop into the Roundup review, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on Instagram, TikTok, and probably YouTube Shorts by the time this video goes up. If it's not on YouTube Shorts yet, it will be coming soon. As far as my accessories today go, this is just an old choker. I don't know where it's from, but these plugs are from Hear No Evil Jewelry on Etsy. If my code is still active with them, it's BATTYBEAN in all caps. It'll save you some money. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in. I don't want to babble too much. I have quite a large pile next to me, so let's just dive in and chat about all the products that I tried. First up, the first thing that I tried in April was the Bella Beauty Bar Pastel Garden Palette. I did do a 2 looks video with this on my channel, and I also played with this over on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. I also have just chatted about this palette quite a lot. It is a pastel dream. We have 36 shades, which is typically way bigger than I want in a palette, but I just have to say they did such a good job utilizing this many shades and giving us so many undertones. And even though it's so big, there aren't repeat shades. The mattes blend really, really nice. I feel like they stepped up their matte formula really well with this palette, and their shimmers are just as shifty and magical as ever. I'm really impressed with this one. I chatted about this in my pastel palettes video. I think I even chatted about it in my monthly favorites. It's just a really solid pastel palette. It truly has everything you need, and I was surprised myself that I like this as much as I do, given how big it is. Next up, from Sigma, they launched cream blushes, and they are probably one of my new favorite cream blush formulas of all time. They are so, so good. We have the shades Cor de Rosa, Coral Dawn, Nearly Wild, and Pashmina. I've used all of these shades, but Cor de Rosa is probably my favorite. I love this shade in their powder formula, and it's just so delicious. It's so blendable and buttery and pigmented, and it just melts into the skin so nicely. Honestly, it's pretty similar in my opinion to the Rare Beauty melting blushes, but just with a little more pigment to them. I feel like they're just so blendy and melty, and I absolutely adore them. I've honestly had to stop myself from using these more. And to be honest, I've tried a lot of new blushes this month. It was like the month of blush for me. So had I not tried more blushes this month, I probably would have just been using these nonstop. They are like so good, like one of my new favorite formulas ever. They also sent along the F53 Air brush. I'll be honest, I haven't tried this one yet because I've been on a sponge kick, but I feel like this will truly be a wonderful like brush for cream products. I love how soft and stipply it is. This is gonna blend so nice on the cheeks. I know what I like in a brush, and I already know I like Sigma brushes, and this particular shape I think is gonna be my new go-to for cream blushes. Moving on to Kate Somerville, I've never tried anything from this brand before, but they sent me over this Eradicate anti-acne treatment. The active ingredient is sulfur. This has such a strong scent. It is not to mess with. You're supposed to just like not shake it up, stick your Q-tip all the way down, and then kind of spot treat if you have any breakouts. I've used this a couple times, and while I will say it does work really well, I like to apply this at night and let it kind of sit overnight, and then I wash it off in the morning. It does shrink any blemishes that I have, but it does dry those spots out heavily. I already have dry skin, and this does claim to dry you out. Like that can be something you deal with. Like it's not recommended for large areas. It's gonna cause dryness, that kind of stuff. So I will not be using this very often. It's gonna be just kind of like if I have a real bad breakout that I want to take care of, I'll spot treat it, but for the most part, I'll probably just ride it out and use other methods of treating things. I honestly don't deal with breakouts too often, but I will say this does work, but it dries my skin out like crazy. But I expected that. It claims to do that, so there's that. Geology Cosmetics came out with a new palette. This is the Wheat Belt palette. This is their only other launch since their Pilbara palette a couple years back, and I'm really enjoying this one. I used this in an Instagram video, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, and I really liked the look I came out with. It was pretty simple, but really effective. I really like the formulas in this palette. The mattes are really, really blendable, so easy to work with. And the shimmers, while they're not crazy, like shifty, sparkly, they just have a really nice rich metallic shine to them, and I really appreciate that about it. I don't necessarily need every shimmer to be crazy, shifty, sparkly. Sometimes I just want a really saturated metallic shimmer as well. And I just think this color story is gorgeous. It's very like, I don't know, kind of like grungy summer vibes in my opinion, because it's not quite fall vibes, but it's not traditional summer either. I really vibe with this, and I'm really just excited about seeing a new launch from them. This palette is thicker than their Pilbara palette. It was honestly probably closer to the thickness of the lid, and I'll be honest, I kind of liked the thinner packaging more, but I do think you get more product in this, so that's technically a good thing, you know what I mean? So I'm excited about a new launch from them. Pixi sent me over a new product, this mask, the In Shower Steam Facial with collagen and peptides, and I really like this. I've used this, I don't know, off and on throughout the month. I use this like maybe once or twice a week in the shower. It's usually like the first thing I do. I get in the shower, get all wet, you know how you do in the shower. And I apply a bit of this to my skin and start rubbing it in. And then I just let it sit for the remainder of the shower and just let the steam do the work with the product. And then it's the last thing I do is rinse it off before I get out. And it makes my skin really soft. It just feels kind of nice to apply it. I kind of like the smell of it. It's not a very strong smell. It's very subtle, but it smells kind of like a spa. So I don't know, this is just like a fun little treat to have in the shower. It's not something I'm like living, breathing, dying for. Like I don't like have to have this, but it's a nice little fun extra step for me. Next up, Lawless sent me some goodies. First being the Conceal the Deal Concealer. Mine is in the shade Cloud. I've been using this over the last month just to test it out, get some use out of it. This is pretty full coverage, more full coverage than I prefer. I know that's an unpopular opinion. Most people want heavy full coverage for their concealer. I personally prefer more of like a medium and like a satin finish kind of vibe for my concealer. I just like the way it sits under my eyes better. But I will say this is a nice concealer. It blends nicely. It does the job. It covers everything. It wears nicely. And obviously I've liked it enough that I've continued to wear it over the last month. I will say it's just not my favorite out of what I own already, but that's just because of the full coverage thing. I just prefer a little less coverage just because that's what I like. But it is a pretty solid concealer. If you're looking for a new full coverage one, I do enjoy this. It's not overly matte, but it's just not as satiny as I would prefer. But again, those are just my personal things, but I still like it enough. They also sent over the Skin Smoothing Powder. Mine's in the shade Fair. I was using this for a hot minute. I was using this mostly to target like setting my under eyes and around the mouth area because that's usually where I set. It does have a little bit of coverage to it, so you could get away with using this as a powder foundation, I'm sure. Nothing crazy full coverage, but you could do that. But I mostly used it just as kind of like a setting powder for those areas that I want to set. I just feel like with this, I have to use so much in order to actually set these areas because like I'll do like a little layer of it and then my skin still feels tacky. Like I don't feel like anything even changed. So I just have to like pile it on. I don't feel like it ever gets cakey looking, but I don't know. I just felt like I was using so much product and it was starting to feel heavy even though it didn't look heavy. So I don't know. I don't think this is one I'm going to continue revisiting. It was just not perfect for me. I like something that's a little more lightweight but can still set the tackiness down so that I don't get creasy. So it just wasn't really my perfect powder. They also sent along this dual-ended brush. I actually don't mind this brush. I like the small end for setting my under eyes, and then I'll use the big side to set like larger areas. It's a pretty nice one and done brush. The bristles are soft, so this was probably the best part of that particular package. Rare Beauty came out with their new lip oils, and I love these. I talked about them in my monthly favorites video. I also did film a lip swatch video with all 8 of these over on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. This is such a good formula. It goes on very like cold and thin and wet feeling. Really similar to the Colourpop glossy lip stains, but I like these better. I just feel like the shine is nicer and I like the way they wear. And throughout the day, as the shine like wears off, you still have a really nice tint left behind. I will say some of the pinks like in the mid-range of this kind of lean very similar looking, but I do love these a lot. I've been reaching for them pretty often throughout the month and I'm gonna continue to do so. The shades are Serenity, Honesty, Joy, Happy, Hope, Delight, Wonder, and Affection. It's honestly hard for me to even pick a favorite. I have worn Affection, the darkest one, quite a bit just because I like that plummy tone, and it's not as dark as it looks in the tube. It's a little softer, but I just really like that formula. I think it's pretty awesome. Next up, I picked up the Singe Beauty launch. Angelica launched her brand, Singe Beauty, and came out with this 5-piece eye brush set, and I love them. I've been using these constantly over the last month. I find myself like always wanting to keep these clean so I can continue using them. I used them for this eye look today. I've used them honestly for most of my eye looks this month, and they're just wonderful. The E01 has such a nice shape. I love using this to like kind of tuck in this inner area. I feel like I can do almost soft cut creasy things. It's what I used for today, but I can also just pack shadow down really nicely. The E02 is a really nice kind of medium-sized blending brush. It's really good for that kind of middle shade for me as I'm blending things out. I like how it's pretty tapered so I can still have some nice precision with it. E03 is the fluffiest one. It's usually the one that I'm gonna use with my lightest shade to help buff and blend things out. I love how soft these are. E04 is more of like a flatter packing brush, but it still has some fluffiness to it. My favorite way to use this is just for really packing things in the outer corner, whether it be matte or shimmer. It's just really my go-to like outer corner brush. And the E05 is the smallest blending brush. This is gonna be best for more precise work, getting really detailed in the crease or the outer corner or the lower lash line. Overall, this is just a really nice brush set. I'm really excited for Angie and the launch of her brand. Salem Cosmetics launched 4 new spooky cute blushes. I really like these colors. I've used them a few times throughout my looks over the month, and I really like these. They have a really nice formula. They're really pigmented but really blendable, and these colors are really fun. We have the shades Ghoulish, Morbid, Seance, and Wicked. Just a mixture of like pinks, peachy tones, a purple. We have some good fun shades in here. I feel like I'm gonna continue reaching for these. I think they're cute, and I love the packaging. That's really fun. Next up, Blend Bunny launched their new collection. We have like the Bare and Juicy lines. We have blush palettes, which is new for them, and lip oils, which is also new for them. The lip oils I've reached for so much over this month. I love the way they smell. The Juicy ones have just such a nice, juicy, fruity scent, and the Bare ones have more of like just a, I don't even know how to describe it, like a softer, cleaner, maybe florally scent. I don't know how to pin these down, but they're really, really nice. From the Bare line, we have Baby Girl, Barely There, and Love Bite, a sheer pink, a clear, and kind of a sheer brownish color. And then from the Juicy line, we have Juicy, Ripe, and Squeeze. I reach for these the most probably. We have kind of a sheer purple, a sheer cherry color, and then a sheer orange. I love them. I will say on the lips, they don't have much pigment. I mean, they are like tinted lip oils. They don't have like a ton of color. So if it were me, I probably wouldn't have bought all 6 of them, but I'm happy to own them all. So thanks to Blend Bunny for sending them. But I would just pick maybe a couple personally because there isn't that much color difference. And if I had to pick a particular set, this is the one that's more my vibe. I like the fun colors. I like the fruity scents that all of these have. Oh, it's just so yummy. Like this one smells like grape soda and it's so good. I love how nourishing they are. They leave a really nice shine on the lips, and I find that even when they wear off throughout the day, my lips are just left feeling so cushiony and soft. These like equally double as like a lip treatment for me, but also like a shiny glossy moment, and I really appreciate these. Blend Bunny is just yet to come out with anything that's bad. Only good things from her, including the new blush palette. I am so excited about these. I told you this was the month of blush, and I don't think it even ends here. I think I have more blushes to talk about after this. So we have the Bare Cheeks blush palette first. This is more of like your low-key, softer, I don't want to say natural because there are some pops of color in here, but more muted tones. Things that are like a little more quote-unquote wearable, whatever that means. I wear everything and anything all the time, but you know what I mean. Just more like muted, toned down colors. And then we have the Juicy Cheeks palette, and this one is your fun blush palette. It's got the bright colors. We got the yellow, orange, pinks, purples, so many fun colors. I've reached into both of these palettes multiple times. I absolutely adore them. I think the pigmentation is on point and they blend so nicely. I am a big fan of these palettes. It's hard to even pick a favorite, honestly. I love them both for different reasons. They offer something different, and I'm just so excited just see Blend Bunny expanding her brand. I think that's so fun. Next up, Colourpop reformulated their pencils from what I understand, and they sent me over a bunch of them. I only kept some of them. I'm just gonna keep my old ones in the shades that I already had. Like, they work fine for me, but I did keep some of the ones that I didn't already own, and we're gonna chat about them. We have the shades Icebreaker, Outer Space, Plum Smash, Joyride, Be My BB, Calabasas, Peach Fuzz, Overboard, Brouhaha, and Karaoke Night. I am really happy to add new pencils to my repertoire. I Love having colored eye pencils. I think they're so fun. It adds just something new and elevated to your look. You can have contrasting colors or you can add things that match perfectly. I just love having a wide collection of eye pencils. It's something that means a lot to me, and I'm happy to add some more shades, including some like almost neutrally shades that I didn't really have a ton of. I have a lot of color. So this is really fun. I like that there's a lot of metallics in here. I feel like a metallic liner just looks so show-stopping. Like I have outer space in my waterline today, this really pretty dark metallic blue. And I love it. I love it so much. And this formula seems really nice. It's really creamy, really blendable. I'll be honest, I didn't have a problem with what their pencils were like previous to this, but if they improved them, then that's awesome. I do like the packaging. They have like cute little like retro 90s like stars and smiley faces. I think that's fun. Next up, Melt Cosmetics launched their Electrip collection and I bought myself the palette. It's hard for me to say no to Melt Cosmetics. I just love their palette so much. I've never met a Melt palette that didn't work for me formula-wise. It's one of my favorite brands. I love them. And I bought the Electrip palette. I did post a 2 looks video on my channel. And I don't remember if I did a look on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. I might have not, just because of what I'm about to tell you. The inside looks like this. We have kind of a range of like warmer tones to cooler tones with some neutrals in the middle. And as excited as I was for this palette, as I started to use it, I didn't have any problems with the formula. Everything performed just like I like. Everything was super beautiful and rich and pigmented. Really like this blue kind of duochrome shimmer that's in here. I just felt like the color story maybe could have been a little bit more. Like I feel like we definitely could have done without the browns, and I feel like this would have benefited from like a bright matte green, like something that kind of went with the cover a little bit more. I feel like that would have elevated it a notch, and I don't know. As I was playing with it, I liked the looks I came up with, but I almost found myself feeling a little uninspired after the fact. Like I almost felt like I got my fill of this palette, which isn't what I want to feel like when I buy a Melt palette, because usually I feel super inspired and excited. So this one just ended up not being my total favorite, just color story wise. I feel like it just needed something a little more to beef it up. I think my plan for Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok with this palette was I wanted to play with this again, but incorporate a bright matte green to make it more of what I wanted it to be. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, so maybe I will do that soon. We shall see. I have a lot of filming to do. But yeah, I just feel kind of meh about it. Like I didn't have a bad experience. I just don't feel overly excited about it, unfortunately. Moving on, Alter Ego came out with a new palette. I honestly haven't been super excited about Alter Ego palettes in a while, just because, well, they are a dupe brand. They go based on like color stories of like very high-end palettes and brands, but the ones that they were duping were just so neutral, basic, not my vibe. But this one did catch my attention. This is the Coastal palette. It is a dupe for, I believe, the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz is what it's called. I really like this color story. I think it's fun. It's just kind of like glam, ethereal, pretty vibes. I like the shimmers that are in here a lot, even though I definitely gravitate towards things like today, things that are a little bit darker, maybe grungier. This isn't like what I go for all the time, but I do respect it for what it is. I think the shimmers are really lovely. There is this weird Petri dish shade that I haven't really played with yet, but overall I think this is a nice palette. I think the formulas in here are really good. I'm really, really, really happy to see them not duping a Natasha Denona palette that has those cream to matte shades, because that's just not my favorite thing. And if they're gonna continue duping brands, I would love to see them do it with like some of the colorful palettes. That would make me personally really happy. I feel like we've done enough neutrals, so let's bring in some more color. The Artemis palette was so fun, aside from the fact that there were the creamy mattes. I just loved all those pops of color, so I'd love to see more of that going forward. So yeah, I liked this one. I had fun playing with it. I used this on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Next up, Colourpop came out with the Alice in Wonderland collection, and I used a couple things. I got it sent to me when I was out of town, so by the time I got home and got around to playing with it, it had already been out for like a week. So I was like, I'm not gonna stress about coming up with like a dedicated video and using everything. So I just incorporated a couple of the things that I really liked about the collection in a Get Ready With Me. So that's already on my channel, and I did film an Instagram video, TikTok, and YouTube short with the palette itself. I don't know if that's up before or after this video, so just stay tuned. It'll be coming soon if it's not already up. First of all, I kept one of the blushes in the shade Silence. I just love it. I love it so much. This bright raspberry, strawberry, pinky red color. It's just so pretty. I don't have a ton of blushes quite like this, and I love it. I think it's so fun. This is gonna be like a go-to summer blush for me. I can see it now. I just had to have this one. I told you, it's the month of blush. How many blushes did I even try? 4 creams, 5 individual powders, 2 palettes, and I still have 4 more to talk about. Too many blushes. But I also kept from the collection the Lost in Wonderland palette. I actually really liked this. I thought it was really cute. This is definitely something fun and different for Colourpop. I love that it's not riddled with neutrals. Still could have personally gone without this shade and maybe even this shade. Maybe added like a darker blue. I think that would have been really nice. But overall, I did really enjoy this. There's a good mixture of textures in here, different types of shimmers. It makes me really happy. I did 2 vastly different looks on YouTube and then on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. I played with like the pinky purple tones on YouTube and then played with more of those blue and greens on my other video, and I really like this. I think it's a fun palette for them. Do I feel like it could have benefited from a couple darker mattes? Yes, but I'm not mad at it overall. I think this is a nice release from Colourpop. Moving on into more eyeshadow palettes, Ace Beauté launched their floral collection. I really like this collection. I like it more than I thought I was going to. Not that I thought I was gonna dislike it, but I was just really happy with this. I did do a video on my YouTube channel where I paired all 4 of these together. I did not have time to do a 4 looks video, but I did pair all of these together and kind of played with them in conjunction with each other. And then I have already filmed individual Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts videos with all of these. I think most of them will be up by the time this video goes up, and they'll continue to sprinkle out after this video goes up. I'm in pre-film mode. I have a vacation in the middle of May, and I have just so much, so bear with me. But we have 4 palettes in the collection. First being Begonia. This is my favorite one. I think it's so pretty. I love this grungy garden vibe. I love the like berry mauve tones with the dingy greens. It's just so pretty. I love that it's like just such a fun curated little color story. They wanted to make small travel friendly type palettes, and I feel like they did a really good job with that. I know a lot of people are bothered by the long skinny pans. Honestly, I'm surprised it doesn't bother me, but it really doesn't bother me. I feel like maybe in pictures and videos they look smaller than they are, because in person I feel like they're a fine size. Like my brushes fit in them just fine. My finger fits in them just fine. It doesn't bother me at all. We have the Cala palette, which is the more basic one of the bunch. This is your neutral one, but I do appreciate it for what it is because it has a really nice gradient from super deep to super light. And I love that with the shimmers, we have these different undertones. Like we have true silver, true gold, kind of an icy white shade. And then we have this like really reflective bronze shade with really pretty multicolored sparkles. I feel like even though it's only 8 pans of neutral, I feel like you could do a lot of variety with these 8 pans of neutral. Really picky when it comes to neutral palettes, but I feel like this was a neutral palette done right. The Fleur palette, I feel like this one spoke to a lot of people's souls, just judging by my comments on my Ace Beauté video, but this is a purple dream. If you love purple, this is your palette. It's just so good. And similar to that neutral palette, this one just has such a good range of depth in undertones. We go from super light lavender to really deep, like plummy berry tone. We have a mixture of warm and cool tones. I love the different shimmers that are put in here. This was just the epitome of a monochromatic palette done really well because you get good variety while it all staying under that purple umbrella. And last we have the Flora palette. This is my sunflower dream. This is my second favorite one. I think I just like that this one and the Begonia weren't just like totally monochromatic palettes, like they had a little bit of spice to them, but I love this. It's definitely sunflower vibes. We have those mixtures of like orangey browns with the bright yellows. I love that we have 2 different undertones of yellow. That makes me really happy because you can do different things. I just think this is a treat. All of these are beautiful to work with. They are so blendable and pigmented. I love Ace Beauté. I've loved Ace Beauté for years. And I feel like the shimmers in particular in these palettes were stepped up a notch. They're so shiny and reflective and sparkly. And I was just really impressed with that collection overall. Unearthly Cosmetics came out with the Low Light Highlighter Singles, and I'm simply obsessed with these. I think they are so good. We have the shades Mirage, Spectre, Spellbinding, and Twilight. Twilight is the one I'm wearing right now. It's been my most used just because this is your kind of translucent, sparkly, wet magic, and I love it. Like this is gonna be when I reach for very often, I can tell you now. These are just gorgeous. I'm so excited to have those. Next up, the Sephora VIB sale happened and I did a little shopping. Nothing major, but I did a little shopping. First, I got a little perfume. I've been more interested in perfume over the last like 2 years or so, and I really like buying small perfumes like this because it takes me a long time to go through one anyways, and it's cheaper than buying a full bottle. And if I end up being obsessed with it, maybe I'll buy the full size. That's what happened to me with the Juliet Has a Gun perfumes. I got some of the little samplers and then I ended up buying the full size of the original. But this is from the Clean brand in the scent Sparkling Sugar. I really, really like this one. It kind of smells like candy, but also kind of beachy. It's sweet, but also kind of like salty. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm really bad at describing scents, but if you like sweet scents like I do, you'd probably like this one, but I feel like it's not overly like sickeningly sweet either. I feel like it's a really good, just like airy sweet. I do not know how to describe it better than that, but I'm really happy with it. I also bought this from the Say brand. I had never tried anything from this brand before, but for some reason this pulled to me when I was wandering my Sephora. This is the Glowy Super Gel Highlighting Fluid in the shade Star Glow. The way I've been using this lately is I apply my primer and then I apply this all over the face, and then I'll go in with either my foundation, tinted moisturizer, concealer, whatever I'm using that day. But I really like this as a really nice kind of glowy background. I feel like it's been making my complexion look extra glowy lately. I feel like I could also mix this with my foundation if I wanted to. I just haven't used it in that way yet. And you could probably even use this as a liquid highlight. I'll squeeze a little bit out, but I don't want to like waste it because I'm already using quite a lot. I only bought a mini because I figured it's hard to even go through a mini when I use as much makeup as I do. So I bought the mini. If I end up going through this and missing it, I'll buy another one or the full size. But I just have a little bit right here. And it just adds a really nice like glowy situation. It's really smooth. It's really lightweight. Like it almost feels like a serum. It's just really, really comfy. And I'm really happy I bought that. And then I was in the market to try a new setting powder. I have still a couple loose ones in my drawer, but I don't know. I kind of wanted a new under eye setting powder that I was obsessed with. My all-time favorite forever was the Milk Makeup Blur setting powder. I'm still bitter that they got rid of that, but then I discovered the Kaleidos Highlight Trio. The highlight shade in that makes such a good under eye setting powder. They also sell that individually, which I totally ran through the individual one. Still have some in my contour trio, but I don't know, I didn't want to like run through it just yet. So I've been using other things. I tried that Lawless powder out, wasn't my favorite. So I decided to buy this Kosas one, this Cloud Set powder. Mine's in the shade Airy, I suppose is the name of it. But I love this. I'm obsessed with this already. I honestly feel like it gives me similar vibes to that Kaleidos Contour Trio. It's just very soft and smooth. It melts into the skin so nicely. I don't have to use a whole lot of it. And I'm really, really enjoying this. I feel like it leaves a nice kind of blurred but still satiny effect behind. Like it doesn't totally mattify me, but it doesn't leave me like feeling sticky, especially like under my eyes where I don't want to feel like dewy and sweaty. Overall, I'm really happy I bought this. It just like spoke to me in the store. I don't know. It's like the makeup gods shined a light on it and said, Betty Jean, you're gonna like that one. Give it a try. I also did make an online Sephora order, but it's not here yet. So we'll talk about that next time. And finally, last but not least, oh my gosh, I have been filming for 5,000 years. I hope you got a snack for this video, my goodness. But Lethal Cosmetics came out with the Wildflower collection and I am obsessed. It is so good. One of my favorite collections Lethal has ever done by far. Let's talk about the lips first. There are 4 liquid lipsticks. We have the shades Breeze, Hydra, Lyra, and Phoenix. I'm wearing Hydra today. Such a good purple. But I like that these are kind of like, I don't know, like grungy summer tones. Like it's these like pinks and peaches and purples, but like darker and grungified. I really like these. And they're so comfy. I feel like it barely feels like anything on my lips. I always do wear like some kind of lip balm or lip mask under everything, but I still know what different things feel like even despite that. And these are just very like, I don't know, comfy. I don't feel like these are fully matte, but again, I also do keep a lip balm underneath, so that usually affects that anyways, but overall, I really like these, super comfy. Let's talk about those blushes. We have 4 new blushes, 4 new delicious glowy blushes. I am so beyond obsessed with these. I love this blush formula so much. I always forget how much I love this formula until I use it again. It is so equally pigmented, but blendable and glowy all at once, and it's just amazing. And these colors, I cannot get enough. We have the shades Aster, Carnation, Dandelion, and Pansy. I love these. I love these so much. I did do a video with this collection over on my YouTube channel, and I did play with the products again today in this Instagram, TikTok, YouTube short. In my YouTube video, I paired the pink one, Carnation, with the yellow one, Dandelion, and I was obsessed. I also wore the Dandelion one totally by itself in an upcoming Instagram, TikTok, YouTube shorts because I wanted to do a very yellow look for my upcoming yellow makeup favorites video. And then today I actually paired the purple and the light pink, and I love the combination. Honestly, one of my favorite purpley blushes ever. And I think it's just because it's glowy. I don't have any glowy purple blushes. All of my purples are matte. So I just love this. I think it's so pretty. It plays with the pink so nicely. The pink's kind of up in this area and the purple's kind of in the rest of my cheek area. I love it. The only one I haven't used yet is Pansy, but I have only had these for like 4 days, so I just haven't had the chance to use that particular one yet, but it is so pretty. I'm just so excited about this whole collection. I think it's so good. This is such a fun, inspiring spring collection. I guess before we get to like the grand finale of the palette, they did also come out with a brush soap. It has like a little scrubby bit as well. So you could get this all soapy with some water, rub your brushes through it, and then use the scrubby side to clean them. Haven't used it yet, haven't needed to clean my brushes yet, but this does exist as well. So quick shout out to that. And then finally, the actual Wildflower palette. Oh, I love this. I think it's beautiful. We have so many different fun shades in here. We have so many different textures. We have mattes, we have a satin, we have lots of pretty shimmers, a couple trichromes. There are so many good things going on. The peachy shade up here is what the satin is, and even though I'm not usually a satin kind of lover, I feel like this just gives a really pretty glow. Like, it's like a good satin. Like if a satin could be good or bad, this is a good one because it just, you see that? It just leaves a really pretty glow behind. I don't know, it gives a really nice filtery effect on the eye. Love the different mattes in here. Obviously I used like the purpley bluey mattes today, and I love the way they all blended out. They look so sultry and smoky and delicious. I use this bright hot pink in my YouTube video, and this is also supposedly UV reactive, so have fun with that if you're finding yourself at a bowling alley or a club. The two spectrums of where you might find a black light. And there are so many pretty shimmers. This one up here and the green that unfortunately arrived a little crumbled for me, but I was able to squish it back into place. Those are the trichrome, so they have so many different flips to them. I love how many pretty shimmers there are. There's so many different shifts and sparkles, and it is magical. I am loving this palette so much. Even though in my perfect world, I could have easily switched both of these out for something more colorful, I'm still happy with the overall vibe. I think it's so lovely, and this is one of my favorite ones they've ever done. So yeah, I've been talking for way too long, like far too long. Now we are done. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried any of the products that I mentioned today? Do you want to try any of them? What did you try? If you tried anything new in the month of April, I would love to hear about it. If you made it to the end of this video, why don't you leave some blushy colored emojis, because this was the month of blush. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the BATTYBEAN fam. I am BATTYBEAN on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you want, you can subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I'm posting most days here as well. And also feel free to join my channel membership. The link to sign up will be down below in the description box. You'll get a cute bat badge next to your name. You'll get exclusive spooky little emojis, and you'll get a members only Get Ready With Me once a month where I ask for your opinion on what to use. I will actually be asking that very soon if I haven't already asked. So feel free to join. There's already a video posted and May's will be up soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. I almost forgot to put my plugs in. Whoopsie. Constantly over the last month, I feel like Did the power just flicker? Weird. Oh my gosh, this is the longest Roundup review so far this year. This took 5 years to film.